No. There you go. Good evening. We hello everybody joining us. This is a pre-record, so anybody who's going to be firing questions at us, I don't know. But yes, hello everybody, and welcome to. We've got Mr. Josh down there from America, who joins us every week, and of course we have Mr. Barry Frankish with us. Wayne is supposed to be here. I can only think he's up to his knees in nappies and shouting and swearing, so he will join us as soon as he can. But yeah, so Barry, how are you?
Yes.
Another Yorkshireman. Well, can't tell me I'm a Yorkshireman with this accent, but yeah. So for those of you who don't know who Barry Frankish is, would you like to tell everybody who you are and what you do?
I wish I knew myself.
My
name is Barry R Frankish. I am a first-time author, writer, paranormal researcher, and basically I'll put my nose in anything what the sun explained. So that's about it for me. If it's dark and spooky, I'm interested.
Well, there you go. So like most of us. What's your sort of like out of all of it? What's your main forte? What's the thing that you really gets you?
It's got to be ghosts and hauntings. That's my out of it. I mean, I know the paranormal is a wide umbrella, and you've got your pictures of all, you've got your aliens, UFOs. But for me, ghosts and hauntings.
So what brought you to that?
I think I've always been. I think, to be honest, it's been embedded. It's like experiences from a childhood, child experiences, stories you get told, and things like that. It's that other life curiosity. Is there anything once we go? And it's a question no one's yet answered, and I don't think anybody will answer it. But it's fun trying.
I've always said that. It's like, hang on, mate, Josh. That's the point. What brought you to everything? Because you like me, you like the UFOs and the cryptozoology and the conspiracy theories. What got you around to that? Because you started off like myself as a paranormal investigator, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That's how I started out, was a paranormal investigator for a small company in Illinois. And actually what turned me off from them was I actually had talk to them about a UFO sighting, and I got laughed out of the room. And I was like, all right, well, I guess we're done working together.
Paranormal investigators laughed you out of the room because you had a UFO sighting.
They're like, that's absurd. You believe in aliens. And I was like, we literally make a career trying to prove that.
Oh, dear.
They're like, no, there's no, you really believe them are stars, man. That's all that is. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to argue with.
The thing is, though, how can you not believe in aliens and life beyond our planet? Because the universe, as we know, is endless.
Exactly.
Right.
You cannot look at a point in space. You cannot look at a point in space and think, you can't comprehend it never ending. It goes on forever, infinity and infinity and infinity. It goes on forever. There's not a big wall at the end of it. I mean, we cannot be so stupidly minded to believe we're the only ones here. I mean, look at this planet. We've got so much diverse life on this planet. I mean, why can't it happen elsewhere?
I mean, to be fair, it was about a decade ago, too. I mean, there still was that stigmatism going around. You know, we're talking about aliens, they're crazy, you know. I mean, there was a little bit of that, but, like, still. You know, it was like a bunch of investigators behind closed doors to be all like, you're nuts! And I was like, oh, okay.
That's the thing that gets me about things like that, is when when you look in that sky, for every single point of light that you see, there's at least 2 planets capable of having life on it. They're in the habitable zone. And that's not to assume that it's just carbon-based life, because, you know, it could be silicon-based life or anything.
Exactly.
What I said about the octopus, scientists have said there's no way the octopus came from Earth originally. They think the octopus, and I can't remember what else it was, but something like that came from elsewhere. They don't know whether it was the panspermia theory or what, but they've said it's not from Earth. It's too far out of all the biodiversity that's in the world. It shouldn't be from Earth.
Mind you, say that about humans, don't they?
Yes, they do. Especially, the golden blood. I can't remember what it is. My mum's got it. My mum's got that blood. Yeah. That explains so fucking much. Yeah. But because they don't know where it comes from, the DNA and everything, and it doesn't come from any known genus, does it?
That's right. I mean, all these different types of blood. I mean, I'm OR positive, and that's quite a common one. I mean, your group is a common variation, but there's groups out there which we shouldn't have all different blood groups. If we're all, say for example, if we're all embedded from, if I believe the Adam and Eve theory, which to be honest with you, I don't, we'd all have the same blood group.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many different theories about where we. I don't believe that we're the first people here.
No,
me either.
No.
There's too much, and when you look at the Eye of Sahara as well, they've now found the remains of settlements and buildings from like 40, 50, 60, 70,000 years ago. There's I've said this before. There's depleted uranium being found in Russia, 1.5 million years old. You can only get that through the manufacturing process. You can't get it through any other way.
I believe there's some in Iran too now, Mark. When you're talking about that they found ancient uranium.
Well, look at and again, I know you'll go to stuff. We'll get onto the ghost of things in a minute, but when you look at the holy books, like the Mahabharata and stuff, every single holy book has every single thing happen. The same thing happened on timelines. The Mahabharata talks about the fight between the gods, the good ones and the bad ones, and they talk about the Vimanas, and there's the other version that talks about the Shumanas. They're both the same thing. They're both UFOs. Tells you how to build them, and then it talks about these thermonuclear weapons that hit the ground. And in the places where it's supposed to hit the ground, they've actually gone there, and there's radiation there, and you can test where these things hit the ground about 40, 50, again 60,000 years ago. So
this planet is older than we realise. It's billions of years old. So I do have a book somewhere, and it does state in that book it cannot claim it. It claims it, but it's been 6 civilizations before us.
I wouldn't surprise me.
And just think like ourselves, we're a disposable society. So I dare say once we disappeared, there'll be nothing left of us because everything we create, we destroy.
Yeah, because we're idiots. Look at what's going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm training up for the PA, going back in as a sergeant. And we're the training that's going on at the moment, especially with some other bits that are going on. There's a lot of rumours and things. And the training we're getting is not what we should normally be getting. That's all I'll say. But it's scary stuff, right? Really scary stuff. But I tell you what, if it does happen, there'll be a load of us crossed over on the other side going, "You were right, Barry!"
we could look. What we can do, we could have little ghost groups and up for the living.
We can have. What would be the opposite of paranormal? That would be we could be normal hunters.
That's what. Would you consider us normal?
No, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. No. So, tell us about your book.
Are you talking about me, or?
Tell us about your book.
I haven't got a copy of my book at the moment, but my book, Restless Realm, I wrote it during the first COVID lockdowns we had, and I released it, and it's basically my perceptions of a paranormal, my perception towards the paranormal, how I see things, and how I would interact with what I believe I do, basically, if that makes any sense. And also there's some instant tips in there. It's only a small book, a little bit about myself. I've been a first time author. I was recommended to tell a little bit about myself. Don't go too deep, don't put people off. And in tips, it's a few little stories. At the time, I lived in Doncaster in South Yorkshire, so there was a few little local stories which were lesser known because I wanted to go for stories what people didn't really know. Because every book you see these days, no matter what area you are in, there's stories what people already know about. So I've gone for lesser known stories and the true ones as well. But no, that's on Amazon at the moment, £5.49. I don't know what that relates to in dollars. So for our US listeners, I'm so sorry. My monetary what's it now looking for, the exchange rate. I'm not sure what it is at the moment.
1.22.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, $1.22 to £1.
Right then. So yeah, it's still a cheap book as well. But I am writing another book at the moment as well. In a process of writing another book anyhow. When it's finished, it'll be finished. Because I don't put dates and I don't give myself deadlines. So I'll only believe it's finished when I feel it's finished.
I don't blame you. I started writing a comedy book ages ago, and it's all about the secret diary of a of a teenage Bigfoot, and it's done from Bigfoot point of view, and there's and running through fires and burning wotsits and things like that, and scaring people. So yeah, but, it's yeah. What about you? What are you up to, Josh?
That'd make a great animated movie, Mark.
It would be an 18. I'll tell you that now. It would be an 18. Just,
Yeah.
Read what I've had so far, and they've just roared at it and said, that's funny." So I might start doing that again one day. But you got anything in the pipeline, Josh?
Yeah, I actually had some interesting topics to bring up. There's that I heard on TikTok earlier this week. Did you hear anything about that? I think it's a water buffalo skull that's like 8 million years old, but there's a bullet hole in its head.
What?
And it was recently found. Yeah.
Really?
And every scientist that looks at it's like, yeah, that's a bullet hole. They don't have the bullet, but yeah. Which makes me to think too, we keep hearing these stories about them finding mammoths with soft tissue that we really don't know much about carbon dating at all.
No, we really don't.
But still, a bullet,
Wow. Is it like a different type of buffalo? Or is it like a huge, great big thing? Or
yeah, like it was around when the mammoths were.
Okay, that's very odd. Yeah, carry on. That's intrigued me. I'm gonna have to look into that.
This same here, that's very unusual. I've got time travel involved now as well.
Right.
Well,
I mean, I don't.
That's anything else? Because that's completely blown me away. That one.
Well, we have the Ryan Garcia scandal going on here in America right now. He's a famous boxer. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's went on Twitter or X and was like, I was taking the Grove, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and they raped children in front of me until they said I would join them.
Okay.
And then he also started saying some stuff about aliens. He started saying that there's going to be an upcoming earthquake. Nobody's sure, maybe something really happened to him. There's things going around, rumors going around. It's like the Britney Spears situation where it's like AI. Other fighters are worried that he's got some serious brain injuries that are starting to show up. Promoters are thinking he's trying to make his fight more relevant. But yeah, he said all sorts of wacky stuff. Besides that,
again, I'm gonna have a look into that.
Alex Jones even commented on it and was like, I don't know what to think of it. He's like, there's horrible stuff like that happens, but it could be a brain injury too. We know we don't want this to push us back forward and research on them.
Okay.
That's been the big note today in America. Everybody's been talking about that. It's happened late last night, early this morning. He tweeted it, or whatever it's called on X now. But yeah, live video. Oh yeah, he also called Elon Musk Antichrist. Which is funny because he used his platform to say all
that.
Yeah.
There's been so many things said about Elon Musk lately. Like Elon Musk going on about we shouldn't be doing the chips for the brain, and we shouldn't be doing this, and we shouldn't be doing AI. And then he's turned around and gone, AI, let's have chips. And it's like,
oh yeah, that's the other one that I got, which was for today's topic. They'll fit in nicely. Watching another investigator talk, it could be bullshit, it could be real, on TikTok, but he said I had a very strange that he goes around anyways and he stays in haunted areas. He's done this for a year to make a podcast out of it with his wife. This last case that they did was really strange. They're talking to a gentleman named Raymond. Raymond was telling him to knock on walls and stuff. And one of the questions he always asks is like, what time period are you in? And Raymond said this time, 2082. You're around the time period I'm talking to you. You're around the time period when my grandfather was alive. So
really?
Yeah. So the guy he thought he was investigating was treating him like he was the ghost.
No.
And then he looked into this guy's grandfather, and he's got a Facebook and a TikTok, and it's all about astral projection. And about a year ago, he stopped and he's like, "This is getting too dangerous. I'm done doing this."
Okay, that you're gonna have to send us some links and stuff for that later, because that sounds rather intriguing. What do you make of that, Barry?
It's definitely unusual. But I mean, I've heard of people having, for example, time slips and things like that. Also, the one theory of death is we don't actually die; we just move into another room, for example, and we still carry on, not realizing. So we do our daily duties, thinking we're doing our daily thing, but to other people, we've gone. So it's like they say there's certain veils with the life between life and death, and it's still, like I said, we've been at the spin areas, like portal areas, and have we gone through like a slip or like a notch, and we basically, like I said, basically us as the ghost, like we will see them. Maybe it's a two-way type interaction.
I wonder if they're at a thin place, because you know, you get the thin places between realms and stuff. There must be one in time, because time's only.
I mean, they do believe in spirit realm. There's no time. Like we created time to control ourselves. So past, present, future, we created all that. When spirit world, apparently, it's all same, all linear. It's all everywhere, there and then. And one of the theories is, like I said, I've got this really clever book. It's in one of this somewhere in here. And one of the writer explains that what may happen is when you pass over, you go back to a time previous. What's not your time? For example, I was born in the 20th century. Now live in the 21st century. I could be sent back to the 18th century, and that's where apparently you get a lot of people who are wise beyond their years. They've lived before, and that is one of the theories that they're a lot cleverer. They should be like seers and like people as witches and things like that, because they had know-how and knowledge. They were ostracized and treated differently. I mean, why couldn't someone be sent back after you passed away, but you don't realize you passed away? You're living life again in another era.
Well, the thing is, they think, don't they, that it's a cycle of reincarnation all the time, and you can break it, but you have to be sure you want to break it. But that actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Talking about reincarnation as well, does the concept of reincarnation do away with a ghost? Because if you're reincarnated, your spirit goes with you. So what happens to the ghost? And also, what would happen if you saw the ghost of a previous incarnation?
I think you just turned my brain to cauliflower with that one. I was going to say it's like things like Project Montauk. They would do Montauk there, and that was to do with going backwards and forwards in time and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, well, I said time doesn't exist. We created it. So no animal on this planet, other than ourselves, uses time. They look at day and night. It's got dark. It's time to go to sleep, and that's it. Daylight. It's time to wake up. We control ourselves. We control ourselves with these things around it. And from day one, this controls our life. And from there on, I mean, like I said, once we pass over, that goes. I mean,
the 15th, 16th century, we used to go to bed when it was dark, when it just get dark, and then we get up about 3 o'clock in the morning, do our household stuff, then go back to bed again until it was light, and then we get up and sort the animals out. And what do you make of that, Josh? All that time travel?
It'd be great in winter, get sleeping.
What do you make of all the time travel then? Do you reckon, something like Barry just said, some of these ghosts could be we're interacting with just different times?
Oh yeah, and I mean, you got to think too what we were talking about the last episode too, with the string theory that we know that there's galaxies, parallel stars too. I mean, you got to think and throw that into the equation as well.
Well, scientists recently there was a paper that came out. Sorry, I'm trying so hard not to sneeze because I'm full of cold. They thought it was past, present, future, but they've now said that actually no, it's past,
all
present,
together.
Linear, and they all go at the same time. And we can go between these things at any time. We just have to figure out where the doorways are and this, that, and the other. And I reckon they've known for a long time. And I reckon like Native Americans and people like that, they've known about these doorways for so long, you know.
It's like Stephen Hawking. Even Stephen Hawking said time travel is possible.
Yeah. Well, they did it, didn't they? They did time travel and like transport, the Star Trek transporter from one place to another, teleporting.
Yeah.
They did. They did the teleportation one. They managed to teleport. I think it was 2 genes, and they did it. They only did it with genes, but they did it. So that in theory, they've got a working one. And time travel, they sent back. I think it was an atom. It was an atom, but they have no idea if it went backwards or forwards, and they don't know where it's gone. But it did go. It did leave. So. Can you imagine that? I don't know where it is.
I mean, we are at the moment. We are time traveling ourselves, but we're only traveling into the future constantly. I mean, it's like getting 2 cars, for example. Say a red car and a red blue car. The red car goes 30 miles an hour. The other car does 60 miles an hour. That's obviously going to get there quicker. Yeah. And we do say what happens is you go to a point, you get so quick, you'll start because time slows. The quicker you go, the slower time goes. To a point, you get so fast, time starts reversing. But our bodies won't be able to accept that anyhow. Our bodies couldn't cope with it.
Well, when the guys come down from the space station, if they've been up there for a year, I think it is, and they come back down, is it 20 minutes younger? I think it's either big difference. It's either 2 or 20. I think it's 20 minutes younger when they come back down again.
Yeah, I've heard that. If we went to Mars, I think if we went to Mars and they came back, and they had the ability to come back, they'd be about 5 years younger when we came back to what we are now. We'd age, but they wouldn't.
Well, I'm bloody immortal me anyway, so you know. Hey, I don't know. So, on your things that you've done, have you ever done any investigations where you've thought, is this spirit, or is this like as Josh said, with that guy talking to the person who's in the future, or have you talked to something that's been so intelligent you've gone, hang on a minute, this can't be spirit?
I'll be honest with you, I've never encountered what I would call a full apparition, or even so to interact with it. I've never been that lucky. I mean, I've been doing it for donkey years, and but does that make me rubbish or does it make me good? Because I am trying, because I believe we're a paranormal world. I believe I'm not here to convince other people. I'm here to convince myself.
Yeah.
I mean, how can I convince somebody else if I don't convince myself first? And I have had experiences, and one in particular is in my book as well. Is the way it's going back a few years, and this was on a Sunday morning in the early hours. And it's still quite vivid because we would do what's known as a car boot sale in this country, Josh. You'll probably call them yard sales and things like that. What happens is we go to a location, basically a car full of crap, and we sell it. Because one man's rubbish is another man's gold. And this particular place,
they're called something else. When you go in car park and you open up your tailgate sales, I think you call them.
Flea markets.
Well, you open up the back of your car and you got all the crap there, and everybody goes and buys it.
Yeah, we call them flea markets.
Oh, we have flea markets. Well, our flea markets tend to be like stationary in buildings. But I know what you mean, though. That kind of thing, they sell everything and anything. If it's the weirder the better, because it obviously attracts someone's attention. And I was doing one in particular. It was a Sunday morning, midsummer, so weather was good for that kind of morning. Good visibility, good roads, no dampness, no rain or anything like that. I was in good health. I weren't on tablets or medication. I don't drink when I drive. That's one thing I never do. And I was driving down what's called Ledger Way in Doncaster, and that is where the famous race course is, St Ledger race course. And that's where they used to hold these car boot sales. And to get into the queue, you have to get there quite early. And as I was driving down, I went past all this roundabout, down this road, and this big stretch of road, there's grass verges, and there's a couple of schools. And between there's a couple of bridges, and I've noticed coming towards me on my side, there was seemed to be something quite low and brown. And I thought it's like a rabbit or a fox or some wildlife. But it actually ran in front of my car. And no word of a lie, it was a disembodied brown boot in running motion. And now, yeah, this experience to me wasn't scary because I was in good mind. I was in good health at the time, no stroke or anything, and I just saw it. And it wasn't a scary experience, but I know what I saw. To me, it was a proper brown boot, and it was like it was in running motion. And as it got to the centre of the road, it just went. And it was solid, but translucent. If that makes sense. It was semi there, and the rest of that day, I thought, I know what I saw, but it's one of those things. Everything I've experienced, I've not been able to capture or record evidence of it because you cannot expect things like this. You cannot expect it to happen. It's the furthest thing in my mind for a brown boot coming in front of me. And I thought, then again, I looked at it logically as well, and I thought, I've experienced something unusual. I know it wasn't a bird. I know it wasn't an animal or a creature, or a fox or anything like a rat, a small dog, nothing like that. And I thought, whatever it is, my mind put it into a form that I can recognise. And that's a brown boot for some strange reason. Maybe it's a partial apparition, I don't know. But to me, it was a brown boot.
What sort of could you kind of recognise what sort of time period?
To be honest with you, I've got a pair. I've got a pair of walking boots here, and imagine that's one of my boots. Obviously, we're at the start. Imagine a little bit lower without all the big rivets in from the actual boot laces. Yeah. It looked more like a solid base rather than grip. Because it was like it was a running motion, and it seemed to have a curvature as it ran across, like the heel where you bend it round. But it wasn't. I mean, it was like an old, best way to describe, like an old miner's boot, but in brown.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I said to this very day, I cannot fathom out what created that experience. I've been down that road before in a park later on. I thought I'd try to recreate it. I went down during the night times as well in the same area. I took some equipment with me. I'm not a big fan of taking equipment. I tend to go, as I call, old school. But my forte is photography. I thought I'd take my camera. I even took an EVP recorder, well, just in case, but not got nothing. But that particular stretch of road is an excellent black spot. It's quite an easy road to drive, but inexperienced drivers, you'll get a bit cocky on it. And that's their downfall. And over the years, there's been quite a few deaths in that road. So I'm wondering, have I at the time, was I in tune with something that happened previously?
I don't see why not, because like here in Scarborough, we've got we've got two bridges down by the beach. One of them in particular is one that they always hook themselves over to commit suicide. And every single time not when I go underneath it, but when I drive over the top of it, or if I walk over the top of it, the feeling of, I don't know if you know, both my daughters are clairaudient and clairsentient. They can see and hear stuff, but I've got the thing where, how can I put it? Whenever I go to a place, I can tell you if there's something there, but I can't tell you if it's male or female. I can just tell you if it's good or bad, and that's like as far as my
like a spider sense.
Yeah. Your spider sense is tingling. Yeah. Every time we go on this bloody bridge, it's one spot we get near, and I'm like, every time. Maybe there's a soft spot there, and you can tune into it.
I mean, have you got a dog?
Yeah, she's right here.
They could take her out sometime. They can pick up on things like that, can't they?
Come here. She has her own fan club on the show. This is. You can say hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is Ghost. This is Sleepy Ghost. So, she has her own. We have Ghost. We have black and white Lilo. Lilo, I picture up just before Christmas. I don't know if Josh remembers, and it looked like a really faded, out of focus alien skull with the eyes.
Oh yeah.
See, like in the corner of the screen there, you've got the alien head.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter does
that bit.
Yeah. For me, it's over there. But Taylor did that for the show for us. But when I took this photo and I put it up, and it looked like a fuzzy one of them. No, it was Lilo's butt. But it's two dots. And
I'll tell you what that alien reminds me of. You know what it reminds me of? That the Space Raider crisps.
The what?
you remember the Space Raider crisps you could get? Yeah.
It's like, bloody hell, the pickled onion things.
Yeah, that's the ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remember. I like Transformers. Yeah, I remember them. Look at you.
Yeah. I think they still make them as well.
Yeah, they do. You can get them in different flavors. But yeah. Sorry, sorry, Josh. We're going about the when we were kids and stuff. Have you ever anything in your time, Josh, where you've seen maybe a bit or a foot? I mean, I've seen a few things like that, but what about you?
I got pushed once into a river while we were investigating. That was pretty insane. And like I went floating. It was bad. And like I had a camera. I was pissed. Yeah. No, I'm more like you, where I can feel when something's around.
It's weird. What Barry said. It's like spidey senses, isn't it? You can't put your finger on it. You can, if you stop and listen and concentrate, you can sort of. You can't see it, but you can tell where it's coming from.
Right.
It's feeling it.
It's a feeling.
The perfect example of that is when you walk into a room after an argument. You might not be there to experience the argument, but you know there's been an argument. You pick up on it.
You can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's that pub that we did. Do you remember we did the live and we were investigating the new inn down in Thornton Ledale a few weeks ago? When we first went into the pub, it was myself and Rachel, my other half, and we were there. And literally, we went in. We were talking to the landlord, and that it wasn't anything to do. Investigating. We just, oh hey, how you doing? Oh my other half's mum used to work here in the 70s. We were sat down having a drink, and that thing went. There's something over there looking at you, Mark. You know, it didn't say that obviously, but and I'm like, and I said, you know, have you got any kids or anything? No. And she's like, and then she started talking to the landlady. She goes, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And I said, "Well, funny you should say that," you know. And I told her, you know, what we do and everything. And then she's like, "Can you investigate?" And then we did that investigation. And I said, "You've got something there." And then Wayne picked up on something that's in the main building. There's two things in the main building. We're going back in June to investigate the main building. We did the old building, servants' quarters. That was interesting. And then we're going back to do the main building in June. But again, the spider sense going, what's that over there? And it pinpoints exactly where it is. And you can wander around, you can feel it like, oh, here, you know. I can't see it, can't hear it, couldn't tell you what it is, but it's there. I can tell you if it's curious or sad or happy. That's about it, I think. I've stopped talking now. So, you were going to say? No,
yeah.
No, it's a bit. I think he went a bit blotchy then.
Oh, did I? Was it the internet?
No, but I think, to be honest, we go to hauntings so that everybody associates to go to a location, for example. They automatically associate hauntings with negativity. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
But it's not always the case, because you go back to a lot of spirits you hear about haunting places because of the light being there.
Yeah.
I felt comfortable.
The pub we did, there was in the old bit, there was two people there who'd been strung up, literally lynched and strung up.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be there. They didn't want to go. They just wanted to stay there. They liked it there. How they saw it, they could see it how it was when they were around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it usually seems like.
Yeah.
You know, every time when I worked for IPI, we had a median work with us, and that's what she always said too, was that it was like their time period.
Yeah. That's you know what you were saying about time slips and that. Have you heard about the one at the Palace of Versailles?
Yes.
Yeah, I think things like that exist all over the place. For those of you who are watching this and don't know, there was a time slip back in the late 80s, early 90s, I think it was. Two ladies walking along and started seeing all these people in costume. They said the air went shimmery, like when you see a heat haze. And then they were walking along, they could see all these people in costume speaking, you know, French and stuff. And they were like, eh? And then they saw Marie Antoinette in one bit, and they were like, oh, look, she really looks like her, and this, that, and the other. And then when they came out the inside, the air went shimmery again. And they came out and like, oh, that was weird. And then when they were asking people who worked there, oh, that was really good costumes you had back at that bit. And oh, the Marie Antoinette one was really good. And people were like, qu'est-ce que c'est? They had no idea what they were talking about.
That's the worst French accent I've ever heard.
That's Lee Evans' French, that is. No, but, yeah. But yeah, I love all things like that. Anything with as thin veils and doorways, I think that explains a lot. Like Skinwalker Ranch, the way I say Skinwalker Ranch is, you know, when you go for a hotel lobby from out on the street to inside for a revolving door, and you go in, it's a massive expanse of space, and there's lots of doors everywhere. That's pretty much Skinwalker Ranch because of all the doorways they've got on that place to different realms and things. It's like the lobby of Dimension Central, you know.
You ever see that guy on TikTok that swears up and down that Skinwalker Ranch is just a testing facility for like the CIA's like nasty weapons?
I've read some of his. I've seen some of his stuff, and I'm like,
right, yeah. My thing too is because he started off as a tarot reader, and I was like, well, no, you know all the, you know what I mean? Like, where's your end where you know that you know?
There's, you know, with my side of thing, the thing I love about, like I said this on last week's show, the thing I love about the research is once you go down, and you know, you guys know this yourself, you'll go down one particular branch of your research, and then it'll rabbit hole, and and I ended up finding all these things from, and I'll use inverted commas. I hate doing that because I sound like a knob when I do that. But you know, when these people come out and they whistleblowers and they say, "Oh, well, we used to work there. We used to work with this, and there was this going on, there was that going on," and you can normally tell who's a nutter, who's a fake, who's a glory hunter, who's a money hunter, and who's just a normal everyday Joe who doesn't want the fame, doesn't want the fortune, isn't doing it for any other reason apart from say, "Yeah, this was going on." There was one of them, and he was talking about there are doorways, but there's certain places. The Nazca lines has a base underneath it that's thousands of years old, and apparently that has a portal in it. But this portal, you can go to different spots on the earth, but you can also go up to different places out there. And apparently this portal, again, this is what this guy's saying. I'm not a nutshell. Maybe. But he was saying that it takes you up to Mars, and it takes you to the dark side of the moon, and it takes you to this, and it takes you to that. And it links to all these bases that are there.
Yeah, because do you remember the film Stargate?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a chap, and he was part. He's like an advisor to when they did the film settings of the actors and how to tell how to, especially the generals and stuff, the Air Force generals and the tribes people. Apparently, he was saying that what they discovered in Egypt is not 2 million miles away from what they actually find something very similar to that. So who knows? Maybe we've got a Stargate.
Well,
I mean, that's why they said we took down Saddam to get Stargate.
Yeah.
That's what it was all over. It was all over the technology, because there's one in Antarctica as well, isn't there? Which is where is built around it.
And didn't the Nazis believe it that as well?
The Nazis, they had the UFO technology because do you know about Admiral Byrd?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know when he took his flotilla to New Swabenland, and those 2 UFOs came out of the water and took on the whole lot, and they couldn't touch him. His whole flotilla, armada, whatever you want to call it, couldn't touch these 2 things, and in the end they had to turn tail and run, you know. But there's supposedly still to this day that base is still there, but you can only access it via under the water. So, and that's where a lot of the stuff is going on at the moment, you know. And
like you mentioned, the oceans, I mean, we know more about space than the oceans. I mean, we don't know what's down there.
Exactly. Mariana's Trench has that layer right at the bottom that we can't get through. Yeah. And they think that underneath that layer is one of the entrances to the other world that's down there. And they think that there's other things like, I'm not going to say from prehistoric times, because otherwise we'll be going down the Megalodon road. But yes, Jason Statham's underneath. They're going, "You fucking toilet." But you go down there, and there's supposed to be things that have evolved in their own, like their own biodiversity down there.
Yeah. A few years back in Africa, they caught this fish, and it looked evil-looking fish, but it apparently become extinct over 1 million years ago. And those stuff, all they've done is go deeper down.
Yeah, the coelacanth.
And obviously it died because it couldn't cope with the pressures up here. But they kept it and put it into them. They experimented on it and found out why or what why it's still here.
Wayne will be with us in a minute. He has been having nightmare with children. He's just here he is. Look at that.
Oh, I can relate.
There he is. All his hair.
Hey,
Hello.
you made it.
You had a good day, then?
Hello.
What got broken now?
I feel like having a breakdown.
What you need, Wayne, is a bottle of this stuff.
If
Dead
I
man
if
fing-
I dr-
Dead man fingers.
if I drank, then yeah, that would have been what I'd go for.
That's right,
But I think the closest I've got to that is beetroot juice at the moment.
Beetroot juice.
Yeah.
That sounds.
It's no wonder Alan's always running away from you each time you fart, isn't it?
Good old Polish beetroot juice, 33p a jar.
Oh, dear. Well,
No, I had a cottage pie for me tea, so obviously I had to have beetroot with it.
what are you doing? Look. What are you doing, dog? She keeps doing that to me. She goes, no, strike me. Oh, dear. So, all this stuff, you're saying about Stargate and things. What do you reckon in the series? Because from what the things I've read with a lot of whistleblowers, is the things about the 0 point energy and some of the inhabitable places they've gone to actually is very, very close to what we've really found.
Yeah. It's like because like we mentioned the Nazis and that, and they created, I can't remember what it's called, like a stone circle, and they believed they put something in it and it reverberated like a tuning fork, and it went that far and it created its own magnetic force, created a portal like a wormhole as such, and it's like one of these. I think it was a program called Abandoned Structures, and no one knew what it was for, but someone came forward and said, "Yeah, we built that for so and so purposes." But obviously, we won the war. But who knows? An alternative universe, it might go the other way.
Well, Germany. I mean, we spoke about it loads of times on the show. The Nazi bell, Die Glocke.
Yeah.
Wayne. You can kill the kids later. The bell where it was made and where they kept it, they've got that. What is it? It's like a hexagon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Explain it.
Yeah.
The what? The what's hexagonal?
the Glocke, where they had it, and where they raided and got all the papers before half of them got burned.
The frame that they used for the Glocke was basically a hexagonal pillar structure. So it was as far as we're aware, a concrete construction with a hexagon shape on the top, held up by 6 pillars on each corner.
It's titanium or something inside, a special type of metal for the where this thing was, because they've got anchor points, don't they, where it's chained up inside, and they would test it.
But it was originally supposed to be. For something to do with while it was being tested, so it didn't go all over the place.
Yeah,
and lose control. It was supposedly to start off with an anchor point to stop it from going off in all directions. But obviously, there are witnesses that say it's gone a lot further than just that.
Well, for those of you who don't know out there, the Glocke was all the Nazi Bell, as it was called, was a technology that they were making, but they don't know if it was for time travel or if it was for interstellar travel. And this thing ran on. It was Red Mercury, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And when the Allied forces got to where this thing was, the Nazis managed to get rid of half of the papers for it until we went in, smacked them on the back of the head, and grabbed the rest and whatever was left in the fireplace. And ever since then, we've had a lot of that research. A lot of the scientists were killed, so that the stuff didn't get out. Killed by the Germans, not us. And then we took what was left and the guys that were left and brought them over to America and said, "You're going to work for us now." So
we had our own little secrets. Don't forget the US. We had the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah. That's where the Montauk came from. That was all the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that actually happened, the Philadelphia experiment? Because I've read a lot of stuff, and I'm kind of convinced that something did happen.
It is
absolutely.
It's definitely fascinating, that one.
Because I think it happened, but I don't think it's happened the way we've all been told.
Yeah.
Obviously, like with a lot of UFO, a lot of the UFO sightings and a lot of UFO reports, they've been heavily redacted when they've been released, and I think they have withheld certain information.
Yeah. What?
And then probably added their own bits to it as well.
Yeah.
What made the reports of because it was 8 miles down the river and then boom, it came back. But then there was all the people. I've got to be careful how I say it now. With it about
integrated.
Integrated into the bolts and everything. What do you make of all that? Okay, Barry, what do you make of all that?
It is because it's like I said, if you're messing around with, for example, sound. I mean, we all know what sound reverberates at certain frequencies, and it can distort. It can distort any biological element from skin to metals. We can melt them down, and who's to say we didn't reverberate some kind of sound system? And it did that, and it just melted us together. I mean, they used sound before as weapons. So
yeah. There's especially infrasound. They use it now, don't they? On right control stuff like that.
But they've been used in. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, big cats. I think it's lions and tigers. When they roar, they give off an infrasound, and it's been measured. It's that particular infrasound that makes you freeze, and that's what they're using in the right control stuff.
But bats, for example, as well. Bats live so dense in such dense populations, and not one of them bangs into each other.
Yeah, this is very true.
That we know.
They've been experimenting with sound weapons since just before World War One. And they developed was it for crowd control and riot control a brown noise contraption as well.
Yeah,
and it is actually what it says. The frequency is so low that it disrupts your insides and it makes you poop your pants.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine being one of those writers?
Yeah,
South Park has an episode.
If you're on a riot and you get hit with this brown noise weapon, and you put your pants, you're going to be too embarrassed to want to riot, aren't you? You're going to be heading quick.
Hell no, we won't go.
No, that's where you monkey it. That's where you just monkey it and reach in.
So, the principle is there. I mean, when you look at it, like opera singers, if their voice can get to a certain tone, they can break a glass. So the theory is, if you send the frequency the other way, we know that lower frequency noises can disrupt the internal mechanisms of your body. When you get the blast wave coming from a bomb.
Yeah.
You may not get killed by the blast itself, but you'll get the wave that comes out from that can rip your organs to pieces. And they proved that when they did tests, and they found that people that were actually caught within the blast radius from the blast wave that came out, a lot of them had detached organs, and it killed them. And that was because of the blast wave. The intensity of the sound wave that came out from the explosion was that bad that it just ripped their organs.
Here's one from
sounds very powerful. Like you look at a jet flying over. You might hear it. By the time you've heard it, it's well done.
Yeah.
But that was like out of Henderson Forest, wasn't it? When the two F-15s flew over that time.
Yeah.
We saw them before we heard them.
There was that report last summer too in Brazil where the U.S. embassies got attacked and a bunch of members said they heard weird frequencies and they were bleeding from their eyes and their nose. And did you guys ever hear about any of that?
I mean, it sounds like a depth pressure type thing, doesn't it? But obviously not using water, but using oxygen and air. My son used to have a little toy. It looked like a bucket drum. And he had a handle on it. All you did was pull the back of it and let it go. And he could knock things off 500 yards away. Yeah. It was brilliant. I wanted one. It was brilliant.
I used to take the girls to Hamleys in London, which is, for those of you who don't know, Hamleys is like the biggest, poshest toy shop in the world, apparently. And you get the people that work there going around with these things. I can remember every bloody time I was going around there, feel it on the back of the head where these guys, boing, and this ring of sound and air pressure just goes on the back of your head, and you're like, you know.
So simple, but so effective, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, the Walls of Jericho, they've done testing on the original stone that they found, and they found that some sort of weapon was used, and they think it was a sound weapon because you can see where the things have been vibrated.
Yeah,
so
like tuning forks. A simple way of looking at it, like a tuning fork. Because I've got a section of tuning forks. I use tuning forks like instead of using, for example, what we call it, singing bowls. Because each one's got its own frequency. Yeah, each has got its own frequency, and they do believe certain frequencies can attract spiritual attention.
Yeah, because you use them on investigations, don't you?
We use I've got 2 Tibetan singing bowls, 2 different frequencies, but it tends to be the higher frequency that tends to get results. The lower frequency I find helps to build the energy.
Yeah,
and the higher tone tends to sort of allow them to come forward more and use that energy. So I've now decided that, I mean, normally just use one or the other, but I've now decided I'm going to use both because I want to do the low tone first and then go on to the high tone to see whether that makes any difference.
Yeah, because I used to use singing bowls, and what I say, since I got hold of my the tuning forks, so I've got 5 in total, and they all give a different frequency off, and some don't last longer than others as well. So you can put it somewhere, stand it up, and it'll reverberate for about 5-6 minutes even sometimes.
The tuning fork thing has been found in a lot of Egyptian hieroglyphs, in the hieroglyphs that say how the pyramids got made, and they think that there was some sort of sonic building device used, that they went bing, and then they could move the blocks and stuff with it. That's what they're translating these things too.
They were a lot clever when we realised. I mean, they created batteries as well. Did you see those urns were found? With copper and lemon juice inside them. Basically, this program we created one, and it became a working battery.
That's right, and they had the lights, didn't they?
Yeah. You can imagine
when you look at
lights in it.
Yeah.
When you look at it on things like TikTok and on Facebook, the live reels that they do, and when you get people that are making creating energy from potatoes and lemons.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, they're sticking one bit on one side, one bit in the other, and they're creating a Jacob's ladder from the energy that's coming out of it, just from the acid within the lemon.
Yeah, it's like we did at school with potato clocks and lemon clocks and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's to say they didn't develop that 3,000, 4,000 years ago?
Exactly. It's like, for example, they had the ancients. They had like wind power. They did wind power. They had solar power. They had water power. Like, I mean, we think we're creating something new and unique, but they've done it all before.
Yeah.
They did a better job of it as well.
Yeah, we've lost so much technology.
Yeah.
Especially from the ancients. When you look at the Egyptians, because again, when you look at the Egyptians and you start reading the scrolls that were found and even go back to some of the stuff on the Emerald Scrolls and things like that. The original dynasty was dynastic period. The first one was supposed to be helped by survivors from Atlantis, weren't they? And some of their stuff, some of their things that they used, there's no way they could have been able to do that without the help. So, like
you mentioned before, the pyramids lined perfectly to the star charts, perfectly.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, someone must have helped them in some respect. I mean, we think we're clever. We think we are so clever, but I mean, they had clever people. They had technology. They used it differently. They had different technologies. Their minds might work slightly different to us, but they were just as clever as us, maybe even cleverer.
Well, their pyramids line up all around the world with all the different ones around the world.
Yeah.
And there's places in South America where they've got the big stone heads, and the stone heads that they've got are stone heads of Africans. And this was in the time we didn't have the travel to do that. But when you read some of the scrolls, they talk about taking the Africans in their ship, flying over, getting them to mine the stuff, and then bringing them back at the end of the day. So
like a school bus, basically. Take your shift, they take you home.
I mean, I was watching one Prime called Megaliths of Peru. Older than the Inca. This explorer and archaeologist, he reckons now that he's actually gone to all these big structures that were supposedly built by the Incas, and he's discovered that there is strong evidence that a lot of the buildings there were built before the Incas. So everybody up until now has all gone, oh, the Incas built that. The Incas did this. But now he's actually discovered that the bits that are certified built by Incas are completely different to some of the structures that are there. And the structures that are there that are older than the Inca ones are actually, the edges are flatter. They've been refined down and fit in a lot better than the Inca versions. And then when the Spanish went and the conquistadors went and attacked the places, they literally just attacked things, broke them all up, and then they were put back together again by the Incas, or what was left of the Incas. And then unfortunately tourism's come along, and certain things that have either collapsed or fallen down have been put back, but not necessarily in the right places. Yeah. And the stuff this guy was finding was unbelievable. You know, that these big rocks were flat as anything, and yet they were saying in that day you weren't able to do that with bronze because granite is stronger than bronze, so you wouldn't have been able to chisel out a perfectly flat surface.
It's like the crystal skulls, perfectly created, no sign of any tool wear on them whatsoever. It's one made out of one piece of crystal. Where did they get technology to build them things?
Well, I was going to say, with one of them, they had, you know, the guy who took his daughter into South America and they were exploring and they found that one skull. That one was looked at and they found tool marks on it. They've aged it and it is really old, but the tool marks that are on it are from stuff we have now, which didn't exist when this thing was made. And they were going, how the hell did they get that? You know?
I watched a video on TikTok the other day. A guy polished a coconut.
Hey.
So could these crystal skulls have been done the same way? He basically got the husk of a coconut, the inner hard shell, and he literally scraped all the hair off the outside bit, and then with different grades of sandpaper, he literally sanded it down and then used a cream on it and polished it up, and it was literally like glass by the time he'd finished.
I wonder what made him at first place think I'm going to polish that coconut.
And when I looked in the comments, a lot of people said, "Why did you do that?" And I'm thinking, well, you watched it and you watched it right to the end. So,
because when you think about it, coconut, they are solid things, aren't they? I mean, quite. Yeah.
So could they have done something similar for these crystal skulls? Started using a different grade of rock and granite that would help refine this crystal down until it got to a stage where it was practically transparent.
Well, a lot of the stones, I'm trying to think what it is, Gobleteki and stuff like that. They've concluded that the stones were moved like that to get the surfaces dead flat, so that they link with each other, and they were just moved like that. But there was other places. Can I help you? There's other places where they've got like you lie down, where they've got grooves that have been done in stones for corners and things, and they've said that it's not been done via grinding or cutting or anything like that. Something has literally just taken it out, and they don't know how it's been done. It's so highly polished. It's polished more than
you think around the world, you've got the Sphinx. I believe the Sphinx was built 2,000 years before the pyramids did. They don't believe the Egyptians actually built it. They believe it was another race before. They just adopted it. It's like, for example, the Easter Island statues. Them things are huge.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? Because
and they thought they were just red, but they go further down.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
well, because the Easter Island guys screwed themselves because they took all the resources and all the wind, all the water, and they were so far away from anywhere else. They were like, we're done.
Yeah. And we've got across here, we've got a Stonehenge with blue stones, the huge, massive stone boulders. The only way they could have probably moved them is like on the log system, push them across, log in front, log behind.
Those blue stones came from Wales. I used to live near Stonehenge. I go there a lot. And the blue stones came from Wales, and where the quarry they came from was something like 400 miles away, or 300 miles away. And it's like, how? Just how?
Well, that's the question they asked in Peru with Machu Picchu. Some of the stones that are used aren't from that area. They're from about 40, 50 miles away. So they've got to move those rocks all that way up a mountain
up to the top of the plateau, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So how were they able to do that? The population wouldn't have been, because obviously it was a popular theory that they just used thousands and thousands of slaves to move one rock in Egypt originally. So even if they were to have done that in Peru, they didn't have the population big enough to be able to have done that to that magnitude. And you're talking about moving a rock up a mountainside, not building a pyramid.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and again, this all comes down to when you read the ancient texts and stuff, and read the stuff about the Gilgamesh epics and things like that, and Babylonians, and before then, they talk about all these things that can fly and move, all this stuff, and the technology that was used. We've lost so much, but before we wrap this up and disappear, seeing as you had problems and stuff, and have not been long been on. Any of you guys got any questions you want to ask Barry? And I will shut the hell up and leave it to.
Yeah, Barry, how's your book coming on?
It's my new one. It's not finished yet. As you know, my first one, Restless Realm, still available on Amazon. But I am creating another book, which I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's called A Pocket Ghost Hunter. And that's all I'm saying at the moment. I'm not giving too much away, but my style of investigation is basic, and I don't like spending money, so it's based on that. we know it's not just
go on.
Not just ghost hunting, but we know ufology, anything, it costs money. And I'm trying to find ways to do what we want to do, but not spend a lot of money.
Yeah. No, that's the best way to do it. I mean, I've always done that, and my second part to my question was about self-publishing.
Oh, funny enough, you know something? I think it's absolutely brilliant to self-publish.
Thank you. I'm glad you two have brought that up. Yeah.
Well, when I was originally pushed into looking into publishing, I looked in various places, and we've got one of the head offices for Penguin Books just down the road from me. And I went and spoke to them, and they turned around and said, unless you've got an agent, we won't touch you.
Yeah.
When I looked at agents, one agency wanted £99 a month. And I'm not going to pay you £100 a month and maybe not sell a single book or get a publisher for a year down the line. You've then got £1,200 off of me, and I've earned nothing.
Yeah.
So my mum was talking to a lady next door, and her ex-daughter-in-law, she started self-publishing through Amazon. And after releasing 8 books, the publisher approached her and said, we want to publish your books. And now she's published.
Yeah.
So
I did approach her, when I wrote my book before I self-published it. I did actually approach the publishing company, and I won't say the name of this company, but it's a well-known company, and they wanted £3,500 up front to print so many copies of it if they accepted it and released it in certain shops. Now, I couldn't afford that at the time.
No.
I mean, that's a lot of money, is that? And like you said, you're not guaranteed to sell that many, because what happens is they'll sell them in W. Smith or Waterstones or wherever, and they'll be on the shelves for a couple of years. And if you don't sell, they'll take them off, discontinue them, like any product. But with self-publishing, not only are you in total control of it, you don't have to pay anything up front because it's printed to order.
Yep.
So if someone wants to buy my book, they order it, it gets printed, done, sent to them straight away. We're both with.
They do stock bestsellers, because out of the 4 that I've released, one of them, Lady J, is the best seller of all 4 books, and they actually stock that one in the warehouse. Because I've ordered my author's copies to come through, and Lady J, my second book, has arrived before the other 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's because it's printed in Poland, and yet Lady J is actually in stock in their warehouse.
Yeah, because mine, I think it's got a 2-day lead time on mine, I believe.
Yeah.
At the moment. And but no, it's brilliant, because to anyone who wants to self-publish, don't let anyone put you off. No. Because you're in control, you're in total control. You can adapt it, you can edit it, you can do anything you want with it anytime you want to. There's no limitations. There's no one saying you can do this, you can't do that. And you set your price up, you do it, you set it on. What happens is every month or so, Amazon will contact you, say me royalties or whatever, and they'll give you a breakdown of what countries have bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the best way of doing it, because if you do it through like you get a publisher and you go through Waterstones, they're just likely to turn around and go, look, we're not worrying about statistics. These are your rules.
Exactly.
and that's it. Whereas with Amazon, like you say, you're in full control and you know exactly what books are being sold where. I mean, my first ever book when I released it, Whistle from the Hills, was I wasn't really. I mean, that one was obviously the very first using the self-publishing tool, so I wasn't too familiar with it. And then I got a notification to say, "Congratulations, you sold your first book." And when I looked, it was in the United States. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I can't remember how it came about.
Right?
It turned out to be no other than Justin Spurrier.
Yeah.
And Justin Spurrier just so happens to work alongside Zach Bagans and various other paranormal TV shows in the States. And I'm friends with him on Facebook. And I spoke to him a couple of weeks after. And I said to him, you know, there will be other books coming out as well. He said, I'll look forward to them. I've read the first one and it's brilliant.
Yeah. And there's, plus as well, there's no better feeling than getting your own name on a book. I mean, when I first got my copy, my author's copies through the post from Amazon, the first book I got my hands on, I framed it. I put it in a
I did exactly the same.
Yeah, it's on a frame downstairs. And it's a brilliant feeling because, I mean, Kindle's all very well and good. You can buy it on Kindle, my book as well. But if you wrote a book, you want something like these guys, you know, every book on here, whoever's wrote these books are proud of their work.
Yeah.
And it's something physical. I mean, no matter, technology is good in its own way, but to have a book, you need something physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your daughter keeps going past it. I was going to say, I've got a couple of stories published in a book with other people and stuff. But when I got a copy of that book and I read it, when you read your first thing and you go, ah! You know, it's me. So yeah. Right. Before we go, Josh, you got anything you want to ask?
I'm good.
Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Would you like to come on again, Barry?
I would love to. And as Josh, I've got something to ask you as a favour, if you don't mind. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you've been Proud to be Paranormal.
Yeah.
It's an incentive I created last year. Proud to be Paranormal is on the 27th this year, on the 27th of July, which is a Saturday. We encourage people to wear a paranormal T-shirt or a hoodie or anything paranormal based. Get it online with the hashtag Proud to be Paranormal and be proud and show people you're proud to do what you do or you are what you are.
Definitely, I think we can all do
I can do that.
Yeah, and last year
paranormal shirts too.
Yeah, because last year the stateside, I mean, even though last year I started it last year. The concept, the USA were brilliant. They really took onto it. Yeah. Your last year's badge. This is last year's badge. Yeah, it's basically being part of a paranormal community. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Be proud of who you are, what you do, and it was phenomenal last year. And I want more people this year to build onto it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And get it out there. Hashtag it. Proud to be Paranormal. Get involved. Spread it around and make it. It was worldwide last year. I mean, if you can make it universal wide, then perfect.
If you near the time send us a link, Wayne and I can do something because this show goes out on all different platforms all around the world.
Yeah.
So we can put something out there, and
we can plug it.
Send it to me too. I'll post it up on my pages.
Because one thing I would like to say to anybody who's watching this and is new to this sort of thing, ignore naysayers and anybody who says, "Oh, it's not real, it doesn't exist. You're an idiot if you do this, that, and that." If it's something you want to do and you enjoy doing it, you like doing it about it, go out and do it. You know, we do it because there's no experts in the field. No one can claim to be an expert because we don't know what's on the other side. Same with the cryptozoology and the ufology. We don't actually know just yet. So if you like it and you enjoy doing it, do it. You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all about looking for the answers and the fun you can have while you're looking for them.
Yeah. And remember, no one can smash your cat balls. If they do, give them one of them. You know.
Or take your T-shirt off you.
Not at this time of year. It'd be pretty cold.
Right. On that note, before we go, Barry, do you want to give your book a plug?
Yes, Restless Realm is available on Amazon at the moment. £5.49 UK money. Not much dollars, I must admit. Probably about $6 or something at the moment, US. It is available on Amazon. If I ever cross paths with you, I'll devalue it and sign it for you. How's that?
All right, nice one. Thank you. Wayne, you want to plug yours?
Yeah, well, same as with Barry. Mine are available on Amazon and Kindle worldwide. And like with Barry, I do a special offer on all 4 of mine for £12, and I sign them and get free Spookinori bookmark. And at the moment, I've got 3 left, but I've got Spookinori key rings as well, which go with them. So,
and I've got cards with Paranormal badges.
Yeah, can you give me a link for that, because I want to get one of them off you.
Yep, no problem.
You got anything going on?
It's like you said before, be proud of what you are, what you do.
Yeah, exactly. We all love doing this. 20 years ago, we would be the tinfoil hat again. We'd be shunned. Now people look at us, especially with our show, the stuff that we've spoken about is happening, and it happens every single time. We'll talk about stuff. A couple of years later, it all starts to happen, and we're like, told you. So, yeah. Josh, you got anything you want to say? Do you want to plug your show or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, follow Lost to the Rabbit Hole. We have upcoming episodes. We have 2 interviews that I have been neglecting to edit with these 2 fellows on the left.
Yeah, let me do it.
Speaking of which, we'll talk about that afterwards with you guys. Like Mark said, and Barry said, and Wayne said, don't be ashamed of what you do if you're into the paranormal community or extraterrestrial community. There are no experts. That's absolutely true. And don't let people gate you in these communities. That's one of the main problems too. Is you got to say this, you got to believe this, you got to. There's no definitive proof in anything right now. Exactly. So have fun with it.
Yeah.
Exactly. As they've all said, crack on with it, enjoy yourselves. Right, on that note, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Barry. Been really good seeing it.
Thank you for being there.
Hey?
And thank you. Yeah, nice to meet you, Josh.
Nice to meet you too, Barry.
And we will talk again. And as I say, you can come on the show anytime you like. So until then, I will say cheerio. And everybody who's watching this, we will see you next week. Remember, 9:30 Monday, 9:30 at night GMT. The show will be on, and you can contact us via the website, darkmirrorshow.com, or you can email us on the darkmirrorradioshow.com at the darkmirrorradioshow.com, or you can just message us and keep sending the videos and everything, and we'll review them. So until then, and we'll all say
one more thing. 3:30 here in America. That's when we start.
Oh, see, I didn't stop. All right, see you later, guys.
Take care.